everybody, it's midnight, and I just got done watching 1978's The Deer Hunter, starring Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, Meryl Streep and John Savage. I've only watched this once before, and while other ones that I've only watched once before are because I've just not gotten back round to watching them again or whatever. The reason why I haven't watched this again since is because I absolutely hated it the first time. It bored the shit out of me to the point that I ended up kind of fast forwarding through the first hour. So when I saw this was coming up, I was kind of, oh no, no. And much like what I've said about a couple of others in the past, I was just like, when I saw it, I was happy to miss it. Unlike those ones though, it still bores the pants off me. And I'm sorry, there are going to be people up in arms about this, and I apologise to them because I don't question the fact that you have a reason for liking it. It's just not for me. And I don't know if it's a guy-gal thing or what, but I can't even blame it on the fact about it being slow and stuff, because I have tons of movies that are much slower than this and yet I still enjoy. But I should get back to that. What I should explain is basically, if you don't know this movie, it focuses around kind of 6 friends and their place within their kind of community and with each other in Clairton, Pennsylvania, I think it is. And they're like steel workers and that, and so you start out with them at the steel mill and stuff, and one of them, Steve, is getting married before he and 2 of his other friends go to Vietnam. So the first hour of this movie is essentially following them through and following snippets of the rest of the town, kind of preparing for this wedding, and then there's this long service of the wedding, and then there's this long reception party, and then it's so funny because this is considered one of those most influential and great, most important movies of all time, etc. And a lot of people consider this, as one of the greatest Vietnam war movies. And yet it's so funny because Vietnam is such a tiny part of this movie. It's 2 hours 55 minutes long, and yet only about 45 minutes of that takes part in Vietnam itself. So you have them all leading up to going. They have this, the friends go out into the woods and, hunt deer and stuff, and then you follow Steve, Mike and Nick in Vietnam, and there's this whole thing. Everybody, even if you haven't seen this movie, everybody knows the Russian roulette scene. I mean, my God, it's been parried to death, even on something like, was it Minstrels or something? It was some advert recently here in the UK. But the main thing is, you have this, it jumps from like showing Mike, played by Robert De Niro, like shooting these Viet Cong kind of thing, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm not clear, I think well, because so much of the first hour of this movie just follows every little detail of their life. And then the things you would consider important, like if they were captured, to then be put in this kind of Russian roulette situation, that might be important to see them getting captured, and you don't. So I felt that was, the editing in this movie is shit. Regardless of what you think of the first hour, there are some awful cuts in this. There are a couple of times where it cuts between cameras, and I swear, especially between Mike and Angela, there's a scene about 3/4 of the way in, and they're talking, and then it just suddenly cuts to, I don't know if it was a take cut or what, but it really jarringly cut, and it was really badly done. Whereas we've had a couple of films where there's been frenetic editing and that, so especially stuff, some say something like Yesterday's Under Suspicion, where there's been, it has always felt like it was necessary to either the mindset or some other part of the direction of the movie. This, it just feels like badly cut takes. And there's even some, I don't know if it's a DVD conversion thing, but there's some bad, like, sound editing on it, where the quality really dips at times, and then just randomly suddenly changes again. But my point was, it's just, so there's that. Are they captured or what? I'm not clear. They're kind of held in this, like, under this hut down in the water. And if they don't play roulette, they kind of get put in this cage that's got rats and everything in. So Mike and Nick, played by Christopher Walken, end up opposite each other, and they get out and stuff, and they escape. And then, like, it's kind of stuck with them, and that they're a bit, Mike and Nick particularly, are a bit messed up, and Nick goes kind of, I don't know, it's not quite, he goes, people are going to be so pissed off with me with this review, I'm so sorry, but, so Nick, I mean, obviously, I don't know the mindset of, nobody can truly know different people's reactions to that kind of situation. But Nick then, this whole roulette thing is stuck in his head, so he goes into these, like, seedy underbelly kind of underground roulette clubs, and becomes a part of that. And then he disappears for, like, an hour and a half of the movie. Mike... We never see what happens to Steve after he kind of gets taken out of the pit at the roulette place. We assume that he gets back and whatever. It mainly follows Robert De Niro. So he comes back from Vietnam. Again, very little happens in Vietnam. But it's kind of a catalyst, because I get that the whole this essentially is a 3-act movie where you've got the before time, what they were like, what the community was like, etc. Then you've got Vietnam, and then you've got the after and how much those people have changed. And even the friends and stuff, their reactions to stuff. I get that it's that kind of thing. But the whole stuff following kind of Mike when he comes back, obviously he's changed and that. I get it, but it works a lot more than the first part does. But it's still, the script just feels stunted, and I'm really sorry, but it's just really, but you know what, I'm stood here frustrated and annoyed. But at the same time, it's one of those movies that you just find yourself watching. It's like you feel attracted to it. I have sat there being bored and bored out of my brains, but although I knew I had to watch it for this review, at the same time I found myself strangely driven to continue watching. I can't explain what it is, but it just sucks you in, even though it is so stunted. Now, this won the Best Picture Academy Award in '79, and seeing what else it was against, that doesn't surprise me. I can understand why, and I can understand why it's considered important in the grand scheme of movie history. But it just feels... I can't explain it. I get that everything is necessary. Everything is. Even when you see Mike kind of, going up into the hills again and hunting after Vietnam, and he lets his stag go free, I get all that. I get those quiet moments, but I didn't need to see the whole wedding and all that choir stuff, and so much of like the reception wasn't necessary, and it feels bloated in sections, but then there's other sections that are under process kind of thing. So I'm sorry, I don't know what it is. If there's any women watching this review, please, and you've seen this movie, please tell me that it's not just me. Please tell me if it is a gal kind of man-woman thing, because this is totally a guy's movie. I can understand guys liking this movie, but then at the same time I can understand if guys just are really pissed off with all the schmaltzy stuff. This is not a movie that I'm eager to go back to. I have no intention of picking this up again, because it just doesn't engage me enough. And I'm sorry, because I do understand why people like it. It just didn't do it for me. It didn't last time, and like I say, I've had other movies where I've gone back to them, where I've dreaded them before, and I've enjoyed them the second time round. This, it just didn't. And I tell you another thing that pisses me off. How many times can you say each other's names? I mean, my God, I could have done a whole counter on how many times Mike's name was said. It was insane. It was just Mike, Nick, no. It's like, what? Nobody talks like that. I mean, it's an ongoing joke with the X-Files, how much Mulder and Scully say each other's names. But this was just over the top. I mean, my God, I talk to my friends and I don't say their name all the time. I get that it's something that's in all movies and TV shows, but this was just a bit excessive. And it was really distracting. And especially in a movie where the script is actually quite minimalistic, in that people don't talk a lot. There's a lot of music, there's a lot of crowd stuff and like people's voices mingled in amongst, but yeah, the script is very minimalistic, and when 60% of that is essentially people saying each other's names, yeah, that's not good. I am sorry. The editing, everybody's good at acting. I feel sorry for Meryl Streep because her character is really dull. Robert De Niro is Robert De Niro. Christopher Walken I wish there was much more of, but like I say, he disappears for like half of the movie. Everybody else is good. I just feel like the script is stunted in that. And if they'd had a lot more work to work with, then it maybe wouldn't have been so bad. But yeah, no, it's not one for me, but I can understand other people enjoying it, and I know I've said about 5 times now, but that's because I'm trying to convince you that although I don't like it, I do understand other people's viewpoint. So please don't kill me, please, please. I you know, just no, it's not for me, and I won't be watching it again. But I'm sorry, there's not much else I can say about this. Just, yeah, just, yeah, just not for me. But you know, if you like Robert De Niro stuff, if you like your Christopher Walken stuff, I wouldn't pick it up if you're a Meryl Streep fan. There are much better movies that she's in. But if you want to check out, you know, stuff by these stars, I was late to watching this movie. I only bought this a few years ago because it is such a big name in the movie world. But yeah, no, just give it a check out if you can pick it up cheap enough. But do not expect expect it to be slow, especially the first hour. But that was The Deer Hunter. That was tonight's movie. We'll be back again tomorrow with The Hills Have Eyes. But for now, this is Sketch, signing out.